I was 47 when I found myself staring at the endless dunes of the Sahara Desert, the sun hanging low in the sky like a molten coin. My name is Jack Madison. I'm a retired Marine, a divorcee, and a man who never believed in second chances. But sometimes, fate doesn't ask your permission. It just grabs you by the throat. I was in Morocco on what was supposed to be a brief escape. My ex-wife had married a younger man. My 2 kids barely called. I was tired of the same bourbon-soaked nights at the bar, tired of pretending I was okay. So, I booked a ticket and landed in Marrakesh, telling myself I was just a tourist. But the moment I set foot in the Medina, with its chaos of spices and whispers, I felt a flicker of something I hadn't felt in years, possibility. I checked into a small hotel on the edge of the city. Its walls painted a dusty pink that glowed like embers at sunset. The owner, an older man with a sly smile, welcomed me with mint tea and a promise that I'd find whatever I was looking for. I wasn't sure what that meant, but I was too tired to argue. That night, I wandered through the labyrinth of the souks, drawn by the scents of cardamom and rose water. My boots crunched over ancient cobblestones as I followed the music of a distant flute. That's when I saw her. She was standing in a doorway, half hidden by shadows, a woman in her early 40s, with raven hair and skin the color of warm sand. Her eyes met mine and held them like a secret. She was dressed in a flowing kaftan that shimmered under the lanterns, and when she smiled, it felt like she could see every dark corner of my soul. "Lost, American?" she asked in perfect English, her voice as soft as silk. "Not yet," I said, managing a crooked smile. "Good, because the real magic here is only for those who dare to get lost." Her name was Layla. She told me she worked at a small art gallery nearby, but I suspected there was more to her than paintings and polite conversation. She offered to show me the city as it really was, not the one in the guidebooks. I said yes without thinking. We spent the next few days exploring Marrakesh together. She took me to hidden courtyards where fountains whispered old stories, to rooftop cafes where the air smelled of mint and oranges. She seemed to know everyone and everything, the best spices, the best stories, and each night, she left me at my hotel door with nothing more than a promise of tomorrow. But on the 4th night, things changed. We were sitting on a rooftop, the city sprawling below us like a jewel box. The stars were brighter than I'd ever seen, and Layla was telling me about a legend, the tale of the desert's heart, a place where the sands themselves could speak. She leaned closer, her perfume a mixture of jasmine and something darker, almost dangerous. "Do you believe in fate, Jack?" she asked, her fingers brushing mine. "I'm a Marine," I said. "I believe in what I can see and touch. And yet here you are, half a world away, listening to a story about a desert that whispers secrets." I couldn't argue with that. She was right. I didn't know what had drawn me here, but it felt like more than just wanderlust. It felt like something was calling me. "Come with me tomorrow," she said. "I want to show you the real Sahara, not the tourist caravans or the camel rides, something deeper." It sounded like madness, but I'd been living in a cage for years, and this felt like a chance to break free. "All right," I said, "show me." The next morning, we left before dawn in an old Land Rover, the sky still a deep indigo. Layla drove like she was part of the desert herself, her hair tied back and her eyes on the horizon. We passed through small villages where children chased goats and old men sipped sweet tea in the shade. The road turned to dirt, then to nothing but sand. By midday, we reached a small outpost, just a few tents and a well, the only sign of life for miles. We drank sweet, gritty coffee with the locals, their faces weathered by the sun and wind. Layla spoke to them in Arabic, her voice low and confident. I didn't understand the words, but I saw the respect in their eyes. After we left the outpost, she turned to me. "Are you ready?" "For what?" "To hear the desert's secrets." We drove deeper into the dunes until there was nothing but sand and sky. She stopped the car and we stepped out. The heat was like a living thing, pressing down on us, but she didn't seem to notice. She took my hand and led me up a dune, our footprints the only marks in that endless expanse. At the top, she told me to close my eyes. "Listen," she whispered. At first, I heard nothing but the wind. Then, slowly, I started to hear something else, a low hum, like the echo of a heartbeat in the sand. It was mesmerizing, pulling me deeper into a trance. I don't know how long we stood there, but when I opened my eyes, Layla was watching me with an intensity that made my chest ache. "You heard it," she said, "didn't you?" I nodded, though I wasn't sure what I'd heard. It felt like the desert itself had spoken to me, and for a moment, I forgot about everything, my ex-wife, my failures, the weight of the years. That night, we camped under the stars, the desert cold and silent around us. Layla built a small fire and brewed sweet tea over the coals. We sat close, the heat of the fire and the brush of her shoulder against mine the only warmth in the vast emptiness. "Why did you bring me here?" I asked. "Because you needed to remember who you are," she said. "Not the man you pretend to be, the man you are when everything else is stripped away." I didn't have an answer for that, but as I looked at her, this woman who seemed both part of this land and above it, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, a glimmer of hope. She leaned in and kissed me, slow and deliberate. It wasn't a kiss of passion, it was a kiss of promise, of something that could be if I was willing to risk it. We made love that night in the dunes, the stars our only witnesses. It was different from anything I'd ever known, not just physical, but something deeper, something that felt like it belonged to this place and this moment. And as we lay there afterward, her head on my chest, I realized I was no longer just a tourist. I was part of something I couldn't yet understand. The next morning, the world felt both brand new and ancient. Layla woke me with a smile and a cup of coffee, the desert's chill still in the air. We packed up and drove back to the outpost in silence, both of us wrapped in the unspoken understanding of what had passed between us. But as we neared the small cluster of tents, Layla grew quiet, her smile faded, and a shadow crossed her face. "There's something you need to know," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "What is it?" "This place, this land, it's beautiful, but it's also dangerous. People come here looking for answers, but sometimes, the answers find them first. Be careful, Jack. Some secrets aren't meant to be uncovered." Before I could ask her what she meant, we arrived back at the outpost. She slipped away to talk to the locals, leaving me with nothing but the memory of her kiss and the feeling that I was standing on the edge of something that could either save me or destroy me. The final night in the desert was nothing short of magic. The fire crackled between us, and Layla's eyes seemed to glow in the flickering light. I could feel the weight of everything she had hinted at, the danger, the beauty, the secrets buried in the sands. She reached out and took my hand. "Jack," she said, her voice soft and almost trembling, "there's a part of this world that doesn't belong to anyone. You've felt it, and once you do, it changes you forever." I leaned in, searching her eyes for answers, but she just smiled that sad, knowing smile. "Promise me one thing," she whispered. "Don't let the desert consume you." That night, as we lay beneath the stars, I realized I had never really known who I was until I met her, and until the desert itself had shown me. By dawn, I was alone. Layla was gone, vanished like a mirage, but in her absence, I felt stronger, like the desert had gifted me a piece of itself. I returned to Marrakesh with sand still clinging to my boots and a fire in my soul. Some nights, back home, I can still hear the desert whispering, and when I close my eyes, I see Layla smile and feel the warmth of those endless sands, a memory, a promise, and a secret that will forever be mine.